Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books and bookish things. I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Time. I am an independent author, an avid reader, and a cat mom of 4. And today is the last, as I'm filming this, is the last day of the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, part 2. I have my little green notebook, so let's get into it and see if I did it. The hardest reading challenge you'll ever do is a reading challenge created by qwordy here on YouTube. It runs from July 7th to July 6th. So as I'm filming this, it is July 6th. It's a bingo board of 25 prompts, and each prompt is its own mini reading challenge. And the idea is to get through all of them over the course of a year. So, starting with the white prompts first, and then moving on to the purple prompts, we have By the Hundreds. So read a book that's 100 pages in the 100-page range, 200-page range, 300-page range, 400, 500, 600, and 700 or more pages. So I read A Man and His Cat, Volume 2, Notorious, Finding Mr. Right, The Grapes of Wrath, For the Fans, Quicksilver, and When the Moon Hatched. As many books as you can read in 24 hours. I did this one on New Year's Eve. I read the Percy Jackson series, the first iteration of that series, except for the first book, which I had read earlier that year. Catherine Called Birdie, The Penderwicks, The Ace and Arrow Relationship Guide, I Am Ace, What Feasts at Night, and What Stalks the Deep. So I read shorter books, but I did read 10 books, like started and completed 10 books on that day, so something. Series Stairway, where you start with a standalone book. So I read The Truth According to Ember, a duology. I read The Thief of Night, and then The Book of Night, and then The Thief of Night. Trilogy, I read the Hot and Hammered trilogy, which is Fix Her Up, Love Her, Lose Her, and Tools of Engagement. And then quadrilogy, which is 4 or more books in a series. I read Praise, Eyes on Me, Madam, and Mercy. And then the last 10 years, you're supposed to read 10 years worth of books, either 2015 to 2025 or 2016 to 2026, since the challenge went from 2025 to 2026. I overdid it and read a book for 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, all the way through 2026. So that one is complete. For those, I read Rich Bitch, which is a finance book, The Wild Robot, trashy romance novel, which is a romance novel written by a friend of mine who's also an independent author, A Man and His Cat Volume 1, Fix Her Up. You are allowed to double up one prompt or one book for 2 prompts, so I did that. Tools of Engagement, 4,000 Weeks, Stone Blind, King, 9-Month Contract, The Entanglement of Rival Wizards, and Facts and Feelings. Read or watch all the adaptations. So I did Modern Retelling of a Classic, I did Emma of 83rd Street. Musical, I rewatched The Wizard of Oz. Graphic novel, Must Be a Book. I found an adaptation of Emma to go with my Emma adaptation for book. I watched the Hamlet iteration with Andrew Scott. It's on YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's phenomenal. TV show, I watched the 1995 Pride and Prejudice. Web series, Lore Olympics. This was a reread for me. Animation, I watched Hercules, and movie Practical Magic, which the book and the movie are both very good, but they don't have a lot to do with each other. Then the next square was disability representation. So tourist season, for Alzheimer's disease, PTSD for Dark Rapture. Third book I read featured a wheelchair user in Not My Type. 4 was Love Flushed, which features someone with Crohn's, and Darn It All features limb difference and anxiety. Heritage months, so this one you go through the different heritage months and you read a book that fits those. I read James for Black History. Women's history, I read Mansfield Park. LGBTQ plus or Pride, I read All Boys Aren't Blue. Arab Heritage, A Tempest of Tea. Jewish Heritage, Diary of a Young Girl, which is the Anne Frank book. Asian American Pacific Islander, The Worst Ronin. Indigenous Heritage, The Truth According to Ember. Hispanic Heritage, The Bewitching. And Disability Pride, Darn It All. There's now a cat on my desk. This is Loki. He lives up to his name. Then translated works, The Bus Driver Who Wanted to Be God, from Hebrew. Jawbone, from Spanish. A Man and His Cat Volume 4, from Japanese. Metamorphosis, from German. And The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, from Swedish. Around the World, So this one is to read a book from each of the continents. Bonus points for Antarctica. I was not able to find a book with Antarctica. To be honest, I didn't look very hard, but I still didn't find one. So North America, I'd read The Bewitching, which takes place in the US and Mexico. South America, I read Jawbone, which takes place in Ecuador. Africa is The Dream Count. Europe is The Book Swap, takes place in the UK. Dream Count takes place, I want to say, primarily in Nigeria. I know Africa is broad, but I want to say it's Nigeria. It's been about a year since I read it. Asia, A Man and His Cat, takes place in Japan, and Australia for Love Flushed. And then Even Bigger Rainbow, red, A Dowry of Blood, orange, The Free People's Village, yellow, Love Her, Lose Her, green, The Plus One, teal, Mercy, light blue, All Boys Aren't Blue, blue, Picture Perfect, purple, Fix Her Up, pink, Tools of Engagement, black, Eyes on Me, white, Satyr, gold or silver, Mansfield Park, and then More Than Seven Colors is The Truth According to Ember. Spooky creatures. So you had to read a book with a different made up style of creature. So vampire, I read A Dowry of Blood. Shifter, Naughty Nice and Holiday Lights. Magic user, The Entanglement of Rival Wizards. Fey folk, When the Moon Hatched. Spirit, Boudica. Merfolk, The Merry Spinster. Zombie, What Moves the Dead. And other was Satyr, he is an orc. For the Avatar challenge, this is as in Avatar The Last Airbender. Water, The Bluest Eye. Earth, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Fire, Dark Rapture. And air, I did Darn It All. Animals challenge, House Pets, A Man and His Cat, I did Volume 1. Exotic Pets, Whiskey Business. This one features foxes that she keeps as a pet. So they're not wild animals, they're exotic pets in this case because she keeps it as a pet. Farm Animals, The Nightmare Before Christmas, where they farm reindeer. Wild Animals, Boudica features a hart, a hare, and a stag. And then Zoo Animals, I read Unwrap Me, which features a giraffe in a zoo. Even Queer Alphabet, Gay, All Boys Aren't Blue, Lesbian, Pride or Die, Bi/Pan, Witch Please, Trans, Cemetery Boys, Intersex, Cattywampus, Asexual or Demisexual. I read a book on asexuality. Polyamory is Madam, non-binary is Compound Fracture, and gender fluid is The Free People's Village. BIPOC authors, I read James by Percival Everett, All Things Considered, which is a book of poetry by Francisco Guerra. Umi Sakurai, I read Man and His Cat, Volume 3. Bluest Eye, Toni Morrison. Anagires, Witch Please. Chiamanda Ngozi Adichie for Dream Count. Robin Sharma for the 5 a.m. Club. Sengu Mamdana for The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Karato for Flamer, and Hafsa Faisal for A Tempest of Tea. Then new releases, this is, you read the book within 60 days of its release. For these, several of them were arcs that I received. So January was Facts and Feelings, February was Coast Vows, March was Goldie and the Bear Affair, April was Lick It Up, May was The Library After Dark, June was Design and Desire, which is the sequel to Facts and Feelings, July was The Bewitching, July being last July, and then August, Entanglement of Rival Wizards, September, Picture Perfect, October, The Resurrectionist, November, P.S. You're the Worst, and December, The Once and Future Queen. Nonfiction challenge, I read Rich Bitch, again, that's a book on finance. It sounds like it should be something else, but it's a book on finance. 4,000 Weeks, Diary of a Young Girl Anne Frank, Irresistible Blurbs, and the 5 a.m. Club. Q's recommendations. So she does several book reviews throughout the year. So I have her cozy mini review for Under the Same Stars, full reading vlog for Evocation, and then any TikTok or short, I did Murder Your Employer. We have subgenres. So you pick a genre and then you read 6 books in the subgenre. And I picked romance. So I have horror romance in contemporary romance, poetry romance, fantasy romance, literary romance, and LGBTQ plus romance. Award season, 7 total books that are either entrants, semifinalists, finalists, or winners of literary awards. I've finished that one. Then we come to the TBR challenge. This is my notes for keeping track of my XP, because I did the Rolls for Read, a D&D inspired TBR game. I chose the class of Druid, which is a nature-focused forest setting character, so books with a forest setting or nature focus, you get 1,000 extra XP. You start at 0 XP, and then the goal is to get to level 20, which is 355,000 XP. So these are all the books I read for that, and then these are my notes keeping track of my XP. Make a quote. This one I thought was going to be the one that broke me. I got it done. So my quote was from Friedrich Nietzsche, which is that which does not kill us makes us stronger. So I have eat that frog. The 4 seasons of marriage, which season are you in? So which. What does it feel like when and art are not in love? Kill your darlings. Between us. Angelica Frankenstein makes her match. Girls like us. And then You Got Anything Stronger, which is a memoir that was really good. Then the Readathon Challenge, which I just finished. I just finished that book about 5 minutes before filming this. So, since most readathons run January through December, you are allowed to do January through the end of the year, or July through the end of the year, or January through July, or July through the end of the year. So I did, for January, a title that includes an article. February was 3 or more objects on the cover. March was a weapon on the cover. April was title includes a conjunction. May was includes a place. June was title is 4 or more words. And July was has a map. So that one is done. There was the do a challenge from HRCYED 1. So I chose the A to Z challenge, and I did all the way A to Z. And then my personal challenge was to read 150 books. This one was fairly easy to do with all the books I had to read for the challenge. Plus there's some books that didn't count towards anything that I just read anyway. So HRCYED 3 starts the day this comes out. Some people started on July 1st. You're allowed to do that. I'm doing it more within the spirit of how it was intended. So HRCYED 3, that will be Thursday's video, is trying to plan for that. I'm going to try and actually plan for HRCYED 3 and see how that goes instead of just winging it like I did with this one, which led to all sorts of anxiety. So, wish me luck. Are you doing any reading challenges, any readathons? Is your TBR getting out of control like mine is behind me? I still have more books in the living room, and there's some more books in the bedroom as well. I'd love to hear what's going on in your reading life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!